But another myth that high ground has busted wide open is that bigger is better. Survival of the fittest is the model we need to strengthen our communities. And again, higher ground has challenged that by emphasizing community trust. Community trust, I think, has three, four components to it, which again, uh, you don't see in a lot of earlier efforts. You don't see in earlier initiatives that really want to people running these initiatives and being funded with these initiatives really want to improve people's lives. But but the idea of community trust a lot of times is absent. Is absent. So what are some of the components? One, residents as nexus, not residents as victims, but residents as nexus. And residents as nexus means that you know they're the core of whatever we decide to do. And if you say they're the core, then you can't even say what we decide to do. That has to emerge from residents. Uh, I think this community trust model also involves something that I saw in higher ground is raising awareness about the nature of problems. Because Denise, the example you just gave, I came to you for whatever, and wait a second, maybe that'll be more helpful if I also connect it to this, or that. That also generates community trust. Resident and parent mobilization. Not, we're going to have a meeting. We're doing this and we want parents to come. So send out a letter inviting parents to come and we'll tell them what we're doing. No, 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 no. Parents and residents are mobilized to play, active roles. People will not do that if they don't think the space is reflects trustworthiness. And so that can only happen on a sustained basis if people have some trust with an organization or a network. It also means identifying and facilitating community resources. What Higher Ground is doing is letting residents know, there's this resource out there, or there's this nonprofit, or there's this opportunity, and that's very different than the traditional approach of a nonprofit saying, we're going to go after that opportunity because it's going to help our organization grow bigger and more efficient and blah, 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 and more professional. The Higher Ground is making residents and parents and grandparents, caregivers aware of the resources they have around them. And sometimes that's difficult if you're in a situation where you're just struggling from day to day. You may not be aware of everything, all the opportunities around you. Higher Ground is playing a major role. And that's, I think, also very important of its community trust model. And also very important is raising resident expectations. I, as a resident, now am going to expect more from nonprofit XYZ or my public school or my charter school. I'm going to expect more because it's not that I've just been trained to expect more, but there's a new ambiance in a sense. There's a new space where, residents as a nexus have a right and an obligation to say, I'm sorry, but this service is not good enough. And you're not connecting this service to other things. So it makes residents more conscious, and with that consciousness comes more articulation. And with that articulation comes mobilization and challenging decision makings that up to now have been very, very top down. So those are the components that I think are part of a community trust model reflected in the work of Higher Ground. And that's why I say this is almost revolutionary. And so it's something that as funders, say, well, here's more money, but you're going to have to grow. You're going to have to do more outreach, which is fine, as long as to thy own self be true. And so that's, as long as you don't forget that, grow. But that's a critical, not just a critical resource for the community, but But people will look at higher ground across the country and say, wait a second, we're dealing with some similar issues, and we're going to have to do this in a different way because they're there and we're here. But there's some good examples and lessons about, uh, that people will see in the history and the struggles and the impact of higher ground.